Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network channel on YouTube. I'm your host, Mr. Prime Real Estate, Ric Davis.
And I'm your host, the Texas Real Estate King, LarryWBrooks.
Every week, the King and I will provide you exclusive access to our network of lenders, investors, and real estate professionals from both the commercial and residential real estate sectors.
Now, are you millionaire minded? Or maybe you're a millionaire in the making. Make sure that you subscribe so you can get connected to the network. And always remember, the Prime Real Estate Network, where millionaires are in the making.
Create wealth for generations. Good day. Welcome to the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. I'm your host, Ric Davis. If you don't follow me on social media, I invite you to do so at Prime Real Estate Ric. If you're looking to buy, sell, or invest in residential or commercial real estate anywhere in the state of Texas, but especially here in our city of Houston, you can reach me directly on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Ric. I want to thank everyone in the audience for tuning in this week, and it's an honor and a pleasure to be your host, just like it is every week for the Prime Real Estate Network podcast. Man, we have a really exciting show planned for you all. Today's episode, we're going to discuss how we can close the generational wealth gap that there is in America in the minority community. This episode, we're going to give you all the information that you need on how to get professional consultation, how to join the group, and how to interact and network with other like-minded professionals, investors, and those in the minority community that want to make generational wealth a goal for them and their family to achieve. So, like I say every week at this time, if you're at work, let the person in the cubicle next door to you, let them know it's time for the Prime Real Estate Network. Share this episode. Subscribe to the Prime Real Estate Network channel, because today's episode about closing that generational wealth gap is information that you will definitely like to take advantage of hearing. So, as always, big, huge shout out to everyone at Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. Big, huge shout out to everyone at the Prime Real Estate Network team. Big, huge shout out to our super producer, Jay Joseph. And also, I want to make sure I give a big, huge shout out to my co-host, the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. LarryWBrooks, man. He's doing great things for the podcast and Brooks & Davis Real Estate Firm. I want to make sure I give Mr. Brooks a big, huge shout out. But without any further ado, I would like to introduce this week's guest. She is the CEO and founder of the Black Market Society. I want to thank her so much for sitting in with us this week. And I'd like to introduce to our audience, Miss Elle Oliver.
How y'all doing on this Thursday morning?
Thank you so much for sitting in with us, Queen, man. I just know how busy your schedule is on Thursdays, and I want to thank you for carving some time out of your schedule to sit in with us. So for those members of our audience, could you please introduce them to the Black Market Society, the foundational principles that your company was founded on, and the type of things that you do in and around the city of Houston?
Okay, like I said, my name is Elle. You can find me on Instagram at the Black Market Society. I founded this company because when I was growing up, I wish I had a person like me. Wow. Like, we all want the same goal in the end. Everybody wants to be financially free, generational wealth. You know, no one really wants to work for somebody, taking orders and just hanging on a string in a rat race all their lives, you know? So a lot of my family and friends and stuff come to me and they ask me about how to get this credit card, how to build their credit. I was in real estate actually. And I was working on fixing and flipping houses and wholesaling.
Right. And
then that just got too stressful. Like, it was just too much. But I noticed at the basis of it was credit. Like, everything we do revolves around our credit, right? Mm-hmm. So I just thought, like, let me focus on one thing. Let me focus on that because that's what a lot of people come to me for. Like my credit was an 800, and everybody was like, no one knew anybody credit at 800,
Right.
especially us.
Right.
So a lot of people just came to me and they was asking me questions about how did I do it and what the steps was and everything. So I just thought I'd start there and focus on that because we didn't have that growing up.
No, and what's so moving about your testimony is that Mr. Brooks and I, on a weekly basis, talk about how in the minority community, we tend to be underserved from an education and from an opportunity standpoint when it comes to being able to get involved in real estate, in investing, in
Mhm.
literacy. So my question for you is that when you founded the Black Market Society, how empowering was it to find out that there were so many people who were in need of your services and education? Because we all have goals and we all have things that motivate us. But I don't even think when I got into real estate, I understood how needed someone like myself is. So
Mhm.
you ever just grasp how much the community needs someone like you, Miss Oliver, and how much good work you're actually doing out there for people?
We just don't have enough people like me. Like when I was coming up, I didn't know nobody with good credit. I didn't know nobody that I could piggyback off of their credit cards, their good credit, to teach me any of the things that I teach people. I didn't know those kind of people. And just like you said, in the school system, we aren't taught that, right?
Right.
But we can't go home and learn it either. So I want to be, like I said, I want to be what I didn't have. I want to not rely on the systems to teach us anything because
Mhm.
they're designed for us to fail, right? So I want to put it inside our homes. That starts with educating us so we can educate our kids.
Mhm. So, and I got to ask you this question because you've been doing what you've been doing and serving so many people who are so thankful to know you. You've helped change lives. You've helped people establish credit. You've helped people buy their first home. You've helped people get involved in real estate investing for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
How many times do you have people when they meet you the first time who just can't believe that at one time you had to start from zero? Because so many times as professionals, they see you as you present yourself today, and people don't always understand the evolution that had to come through experience, trial and error, and just being in the fire to make Miss Elle Oliver the business professional that she is. So how often do you find it difficult to help people understand that you've been where they currently are?
I just did a consultation with somebody and she was so nervous. And I'm like,
Mm,
what? Why are you so nervous? And she was like, I'm telling you all of this and you might think I'm stupid because I don't know this. And I was like, it's so many of us out there. Listen, I'm knowledgeable about this specific thing, but there's things that I have no idea of that somebody that knows it think I'm stupid. But like I'm still learning. I'm still starting from zero. I'm normal. I'm just like everybody else. There's new products that's introduced to these credit cards and stuff like that all the time. I have to start from zero. I have to learn just like everybody else. So that's my main focus with the Black Market Society. Like I want us to learn together. Like I'm never gonna stop learning. And
right.
I want everybody to start and actually continue up the ladder and not just, oh, I fixed my credit, that's it. Like, no, oh, I got a credit card, that's it. No, what are you doing with the credit card? Like, I started all my businesses with a credit card. But a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know that they could turn their credit cards into cash
Mhm.
or just uh, start businesses with their credit
Absolutely.
cards. Leverage their credit cards is what I was trying to say. But a lot of people just don't know, and it's I want to bring those people together.
Absolutely. I want to talk a little bit about the Black Market Society, your website, and your organization. For those who haven't had the opportunity to visit the website, when they go to your website, what type of services do you offer? What type of things will they see on the website that can help to change their financial life?
So as of now, like currently, right now, after this, I have a meeting with my web developer right now. We're revamping the site. Um, but right now, I'm offering consultations. I'm offering free downloads to help people clean their credit, like the basics. Like when you hear cleaning your credit, you're just a lot of people get overwhelmed because they think
Right.
it's a lot of stuff to do. It takes forever. Like I can't do it. So I've simplified the process of some basic things you could do to clean your credit and raise your credit score. It's not that hard. It's not.
Right.
We have to retrain our minds. We have to
Right.
transform our minds and refocus and strip away everything that we've been told,
Right.
and start from scratch. But yeah, I'm offering consultations and credit boosting and cleaning your credit, cheat sheets, just a lot of different things that you could do yourself and not have to pay people or not feel overwhelmed. I've simplified all the processes, things that I've been through already. And I just sat back and thought, if I would have did it this way, it would have been much smoother. So
Mhm.
that's what I've done.
Absolutely. And I got to ask you this question because there's going to be so many people in our audience that hear this interview, see Miss Oliver, and think to themselves, man, this lady is great. I want to work with her. I want to help to give them some insight into your background so that they can understand you come from exactly where they come from.
Oh, Lord.
So,
Or
what
reverse.
did you what did you do professionally before you started your company and before you decided to become a business owner and entrepreneur?
Okay, so I was working in the construction pipeline
Hmm.
industry.
Okay.
And I was on a contract, a six-figure contract, right?
Mhm.
I never made this kind of money in my life. I was just amazed that I really thought we was going to go to jail for how much money we were making at that time.
Mhm.
I was doing nothing, absolutely nothing. That's how I discovered wholesale and real estate because I was bored.
Mm.
I used to research. I used to research different ways to make money because I was so bored. But yeah, I was doing construction pipeline, teaching people how to work this program on an iPad. And one day they just came in and was like, your last day is Friday.
Mm.
And they just took my livelihood away without blinking, without thinking. And I was like shocked because I thought these people were friends with me, and all of that. But when it comes down to business, no one cares about that. Like
Right.
they care about their money and that's it. So at that moment, like when I got fired and my livelihood was taken away from me, all that money, well, I was saving, thank God. But I was just like, these people don't care if I eat tomorrow or who I'm taking care of with these funds. Like, they don't care. So at that moment, that's literally when the Black Market Society was like started. I just
Right.
didn't know. I just didn't know the dynamics of my business yet. But at that moment, I was like, I'm never giving no one that much control of my life. I
Exactly.
can't.
I got to ask you this question because so many of the business owners that I've had the pleasure of interviewing, I've asked them, several of them, this question. And normally they say some things like, I had an idea while I was at work and I wrote down some ideas and did some research. It's a gradual build up
Mm,
to when they decide to just cross the line, leave their job, and go out into this entrepreneurial space. But you didn't have that luxury.
right,
It was almost like this was forced upon you. So, where
right.
did you find the strength and the wherewithal to not get depressed, not to sulk, not to take a self esteem shot, but to actually pull yourself back up and understand I have talents that can transfer into business ownership?
I didn't. I didn't. I was depressed. And everything else, like everybody else, like I'm really normal, you know?
Right.
So like when I lost my job, of course I had money, thank God, to like carry me over. But I was like, what am I gonna do? I can't go from a 6-figure job to making back to $20 an hour or something like that. Like I just couldn't do it. So it was a struggle every day to get on the phone. Like I said, I got into real estate. I got into wholesaling real estate. Oh my God. Like that was perfect timing because it's like it kept me busy. And I was in a rural area for the contract for my job. So I was like alone. So that kept me busy, like making calls. Anybody will tell you if they're an investor, you're on the phone, you making those calls, you know. So making calls and going to see properties and stuff like that, it kept me busy and it kept me focused. And I didn't know nothing about starting a business. I was just trying to make some money. I didn't know anything about that. Like that came, the business part of it came later once I started actually acquiring my own properties and wanting to fix and flip and all that. And then I was like, I need to put this, I need to make this legal. I need to start a business. Because at first I was just doing it as me.
Right.
But I didn't know any of that. And that's what I want to prevent others. Like you are a business. Whatever you do is a business. You need to start that now, even if you don't have an idea of where it's going. Like you can start a business as you. So that anything that you do could be legal, But yeah, I didn't know any of that. So yes, I was depressed, struggling. It was a struggle every day.
Now that you've given us some background, and I thank you so much for your candor and transparency, because one of the things that me and some of my colleagues like to talk about is that people don't always appreciate the path that you traveled to become what you are today. So thank you so much for just pulling back the curtain and letting us see a little bit about where you came from and what it took for you to become who you are. Now, without getting into specifics, because we don't want to use any names, but I want to give everyone in the audience that hears your story an idea of how these dreams aren't impossible for anyone. So just if you can remember a client that you worked with that you feel really proud of, that you were able to help he or she get their credit together, what are some of the most challenging scenarios that people have brought to you for help, that you've been able to help them get to the other side and get their goals achieved? Because I want everyone to know that like they can reach out to you today and start changing their life. So could you just give us an example of some of the toughest challenges you've helped people work through?
Okay, I had this one client, I'll never forget her, but when she came to me, I boost credit. So she just heard that and she was just like, I need my credit boosted. I need to buy a car this weekend. And I'm like, what? I'm like, okay. I was like, what do you want your credit boosted to? And she was like, a 700. And I'm like, okay, that's doable. And I'm like, what is your credit score now? So she was like, I don't know. And I was like, okay, that's the first problem. Like, we are not aware. We don't monitor our credit. We use Credit Karma. That's what she said. On Credit Karma, it's a 510. I'm like, you want to go from a 510 to a 700 in the weekend? We need to be realistic, right? We need to be realistic, and we need to first know your real score. That's the first thing. Know what's on your credit. Like, so I literally like printed out all her credit reports and went through it with her, and I brought her back down to reality. Like, we can't get you from a 500 to a 700 in a weekend. Now it's gonna take a few weeks, but we're gonna do it together. We're gonna work through it. I'm gonna teach you as I'm doing it for you, so you won't have to contact me again after this is over. And she really appreciated me for that. Because I don't think anybody could have got her from a 500 to a 700. Maybe so. I don't know. I just couldn't help her. and in that way. But I helped her, and she got her car in about 3 weeks, maybe a month. She got her car. She was able to be approved with a decent interest rate and things like that. But yeah, some people come to you just so unrealistic. Like when they hear you do credit, or first of all, people think it's a scam some kind of way. I don't know. So they're thinking you could just perform these miracles, and it's not that way. But once I talk to them and let them know the realistic, goals
Right.
that I can achieve for them, it ends up being okay. But she was funny.
No, the interesting part about the story that you just shared, and I thank you so much for sharing it, is that you were able to get someone with a credit score as low as a 510 to a point where they could qualify for an auto loan. But I want to talk to those people whose credit scores are like at 650 and they just needed to get to like maybe 720 for a refinance or for prime lending interest rates. Could you just speak to people about why they shouldn't wait until their credit score is damaged to reach out to you, because you can help people whose scores are above 600 as well?
Right. It's easier. Of course, it's easier if you're in the 600s. Like 9 times out of 10, going back to that client, we're just not aware of what's being reported, right?
Right.
So
Yes.
if you just take the time to check your credit reports, go item for item, line for line, and see what these creditors are reporting about you, that's half the battle. Because a lot of the stuff that they're reporting is inaccurate. It's inaccurate. So that's easy. Getting that stuff off you, getting that negative stuff and that inaccurate stuff off of your credit report, that boosts your score by itself. So that's things you can do. Like you don't even need me. But a lot of people feel overwhelmed when they look at it. So they feel better if they have an extra set of eyes or somebody a little bit more professional than them to look at it. But it's really not that hard. It's really not. Well, maybe I'm gonna say it's probably really not that hard for me because I know what I'm doing. But for
Of
somebody
course.
that doesn't, yeah, because I always say that. I always be like, it's so simple, and then somebody will look at me and be like, no, it's not. It's not simple. It's simple for you because you know what you're doing. Like, so I'm gonna take that back because people tell me that all the time when I say that. But yeah, it's not that hard for me.
Right.
It's not that hard for me to help.
I want to give you your flowers publicly for your ambition, your goal setting, and the way that you've been able to persevere as a business owner to see your vision come to reality. Because there are so many of us, and when I say us, I mean business owners and entrepreneurs, that have to fail at 2 or 3 different types of businesses before we find our niche, before we find our sweet spot where we can build a practice, build a brand, build a company, and actually serve the community the way that we think the community should be served. But I want to ask you, when you think back to your upbringing, were there members of your family, close personal circle, your church group that owned businesses, that were entrepreneurs, that may have, when you were younger, served as like a guiding light or an example? Because as young people, we all are ambitious and we all have goals, but sometimes we need a vision. We need an example of someone who looks like us, who may be close to us, who can just give us that little push that we need to believe in ourselves. When you think back to your childhood as a young lady, was there anyone in your family that you think may have served in that role for you?
I'm gonna say in my family, no. I couldn't spin around and find nobody in my family that was a business owner. And if there was, don't kill me. All right.
Right, right.
If y'all looking at this, don't kill me. But no, I don't remember. I don't remember anybody like in my family, in my close circle, like at my school, church, nothing. Like I don't remember knowing any entrepreneurs or someone sharing information or guiding me. like literally I got to where I am today by failing. Like I failed at so much stuff. Just like I said, I was in real estate. And I'm not gonna say that I failed in real estate. It just was too overwhelming for me, right? So I just got rid of my Airbnbs because it was just too overwhelming for me. You need a team. Like, being in real estate, like your team will make or break your business. So if you don't have a good team, and that's pretty much with anything, because I'm experiencing it right now. I'm still in a developing stages of my business, and like finding a good team to help, like to scale. Like you cannot do it on your own because the burnout is real. You need a team. But like I didn't have that. I didn't have any of that. Like now I go to YouTube, I go to, different mentor groups, and I go to different seminars, webinars and stuff like that. So I see a bunch of entrepreneurs and I see the things that they face, and they give me motivation and guidance and stuff like that. But when I was coming up, no way.
It's amazing because now it makes your story come full circle.
Hmm.
Because we it's so many young people that feel the same way that you felt probably at 11, 12, 13 years old, where there's more to life than what you see,
Yes.
but no one is showing you how to make it or navigate your way to that area. So I want to thank you for sitting there with us, because your testimony is going to affect a young person that hears this interview in a way that I don't think myself or you can even imagine. Everything that you're doing as far as helping people take control of their financial future by making sure their credit rating is not only accurate, but are showing things on there that is actually has to do with the client. Because to your earlier point, there are so many things on people's credit profile that is just erroneous.
Hmm.
And those are the things that are keeping people from closing on their first home, getting their car that they need for their company. You could be a truck driver and you're trying to get your vehicle to start your business. It is these things as far as credit that could be keeping people back or serving as a roadblock, and you're helping them remove those things. So for those in our audience that want to take control of their life, take control of their business, get their credit rating handled and under control, how can they reach out to you today, book a consultation, and have an opportunity to discuss their goals with you?
So my website is theblackmarketsociety.com. I also start some business transactions through Instagram, which is at the dot blackmarketsociety.com. My email is theblackmarketsociety.com also. So yeah, they could reach me any one of those avenues and let me know what's going on and we'll figure it out.
And one final question, I have to ask you this: for any member of our audience that would love to meet, greet, interact with Miss Elle Oliver in person, are there any opportunities on the horizon? When will be the next chance that the Prime Real Estate Network audience will have a chance to meet you in person?
I don't know, y'all could bring me back on the show, but I don't have anything like planned for meet and greets or anything as of now, but just keep checking out my site and I'll put anything that's going on. I'll of course add it there, and also Instagram.
Well, I will publicly invite you, because on a monthly basis, we at Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm host first time home buyer seminars.
Okay.
And having someone with your expertise, your knowledge, and your experience at one of those homebuyer seminars, I think would be invaluable for those who show up. So
Yes.
that is your public invitation.
Okay.
Anytime that you like to rock out with Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm, you have a place with us, Miss Oliver. I thank you so much. I know how it is on Thursdays going into the weekend for us business owners. So, Queen, I appreciate you so much. Anytime you would like to sit in with myself, Larry, or you would need for us at the Prime Real Estate Network podcast to support any of your ventures, please reach out and let us know, because I thank you so much for sitting in with us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm honored.
Thank you so much, Queen. Have a great weekend and you stay safe.
Thanks to you.
Thank you. Bye bye. Man, I promised you a great episode. I promised that we would have a great, engaging entrepreneur on with us this week, and we have definitely delivered. Big huge shout out to the Texas Real Estate King, Mr. Larry W. Brooks, for connecting us with Miss Oliver. Big huge shout out to Miss Elle Oliver and everyone over at the Black Market Society. I want to remind everyone that you can hear this episode and all of the previous episodes of the Prime Real Estate Network podcast on YouTube, Facebook, Spotify, and Google Play. I want to urge everyone, if you haven't had an opportunity to stop by the Teespring store for the Prime Real Estate Network, please check out the Prime Real Estate Network store on Teespring. You'll see all the great t-shirts, hats, and other merchandise that we produce here at the Prime Real Estate Network. And if you want to support the podcast, you can visit the Prime Real Estate Network's Patreon page. Just go to patreon.com, search for the Prime Real Estate Network, and you'll have the opportunity to support the Prime Real Estate Network podcast and help us not only bring great guests, but also help to sponsor all the great initiatives that we have in the community alongside Brooks and Davis Real Estate Firm. So on behalf of myself, Ric Davis, you can follow me on Instagram at Prime Real Estate Rick, and you can also follow the podcast on Instagram at the Prime Real Estate Network. I want to thank everyone in the audience for tuning in this week. If you need me, I'm only a call, text, DM, or email away. And until next week at this same time, everyone out there in our audience, please be safe and be blessed.